With that little jaunty tune, I am C. Trent Rosecrans, senior writer at The Athletic, and he once slotted in somebody's game between Randy Johnson and Kevin Brown. Remember pitching between those two guys?
Yes, I do. The 2000 All-Star game in Atlanta.
I was
And
in
I
left field in the Ox box.
Were you really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, but you probably have no idea that I was pitching between those two.
I did not remember it off the top of my head. So probably less vivid memories of Danny Graves in the 2000 All Star Game at Turner Field for me than for Mr. Danny Graves. Two-time
Yes,
All Star Danny Graves. Sorry.
the reason I worded it that way is you don't remember me doing it, or you didn't know that I was pitching in between them, is because prior to the game, I didn't know I was pitching in between those two either. So
Actually, it does. I probably did pay attention because I was working for. Oh, right. No, that was before he was with the Royals. I wrote this story about how the Royals had like, because I was a Royals fan, even though I was writing for a newspaper in Georgia, about how the Royals had maybe the one of the best outfields in baseball that nobody thought about because
yeah,
Jermaine Dye was there, and you what did you do there? I just had that up. He flew out to short left
flew
field,
out
so
to
towards me,
left.
and I
Yep.
was writing about him, and so I was probably paying attention. And he was because it was him, Johnny Damon, and Carlos Beltran. I mean, that's
Yes.
I remember like I had an argument with a guy I worked with. I was like, the Yankees would trade the Royals their outfield straight up right now, and he was like, no, 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 and I was like, and I don't know who was in 2000 was in the Yankees outfield then. I mean, probably pretty good. It was like Bernie Williams and some other guys because that was the run. They were still the World Series champs, but Damon, Dye, and Beltran was a heck of an outfield.
Yes. Paul O'Neill was still playing in 2000, right? So
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, so
So yeah, Jermaine Dye. I got other stories about Jermaine Dye. He hit a ball off me in Omaha in AAA one year that it still hasn't landed, and that was in 1996. Like he hit it so far. He hit it over the backdrop in center field, and it was ridiculous. Okay, so anyways, about this All Star game, prior to the game, I wasn't scheduled to pitch in the second inning. I was scheduled to pitch in the eighth. Leo Mazzoni came and told all the pitchers what inning that they'd planned on us throwing. So I was just taking my time getting ready to go down to the bullpen. So get in a cart and go under the tunnel with Tom Glavine, and we're riding down there. And as soon as I get to the bullpen, the phone starts ringing, and they're like, the bullpen coach at the time was, I think it was Bobby Dews.
mhm.
So he says, they just called and wanted to know if you can get ready to pitch. And I'm like, when, now? And they're like, yeah, now. I said, I'm ready. I'll pitch. Go. Okay, let's get in there. I didn't want to wait till the eighth inning. Well, it turns out Kevin Brown was supposed to pitch in the second inning, but Randy Johnson had a quick 1, 2, 3 inning to start the game, and there was no way
Mm.
Kevin Brown could get loose. So I threw like maybe 5 pitches in the bullpen, and I was so pumped, my adrenaline. I went out in the game and pitched like with barely warming up in the bullpen. It
But
was
that makes sense.
beautiful.
But that's like looking back on it, it couldn't be better because you didn't get those butterflies. You got
Yeah.
up just as you're used to, and really like and this was your first All Star game, so probably a little different for you. But the thing that I don't know that people know about All Star games, like once you're done playing,
Mhm.
there's a good chance you're just gone. You
Right.
leave,
Right.
like you
But
go home.
yeah, I didn't. I went after the second inning. I took my spikes off and put tennis shoes back on, and I sat there the rest of the game and got to enjoy it. Like if I
Right.
was sitting there waiting to pitch until the eighth inning, I probably would have had to go to the bathroom at least 10 times. Like I would have been so like nervous and butterflies and anxious. Oh, it would have been awful. So thankfully, it worked out great for the second inning.
Yeah. I mean, like if you're, I don't know, Ken Griffey Jr. or Danny, or not Danny Grafe, sorry, or Barry Larkin. I was seeing your two teammates there. Like the only way is like if Junior had a plane ready to go, and he was like, "Hey, you want to go back to where we're going?" And you're like, "Okay." But like, because that's what happens, right?
Yeah, that definitely happens. And I don't even remember if because Junior was in the home run derby that year, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think he played in the game.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Barry did. Barry started the game.
Barry led off.
Yeah, and I don't know if Junior even stayed for the beginning of the game. I don't remember, but my plan was once I pitched, I was just going to relax and watch
Yeah, you
because
should.
these are all guys that I grew up watching. I was still just a kid playing with a bunch of guys I used to see on TV, and uh, it was very surreal. Just the whole evening was awesome.
That was your first All-Star game, my second. So
What was your first?
Boston, 99.
99.
Tough to
Yeah, that was
beat. So Junior won the home run derby that year, but
uh-huh.
everybody remembers McGuire hitting it over the monster. And then that year was the 100 greatest players thing, and Ted Williams comes out from
Yeah.
right field, and that's where the aux box was, and that's where I was sitting, like at I guess I was 23. It was a
Uh-huh.
23-year-old who was there for no good reason, but I was there. So it was awesome.
Yeah, that had to have been a great one.
It's tough to beat. So today we're going to talk, well, Black Friday, but also non-tenders. Kind of goes, we're talking about bargains. Um,
Bargains.
on the other side of our break, we will start talking about some of we went through the ads, like the old days when you'd get the newspaper on Thanksgiving and it would be so thick and it would be all like Black Friday ads in between.
Uh-huh.
Like for the kids, a newspaper, you got to look it up. But yeah, so like that's kind of what we've done is we've looked through the non-tender candidates and looking for maybe some bargains, maybe some things that we shall see. But on that, I will note that the Reds non-tendered Will Banfield, Roddery Munoz, and Carson Spires. Banfield, they got another catcher with a split contract, so that's there. Munoz is a guy they just claimed off waivers earlier this month. A lot of times you'll see those, and Danny, you know this better than I do, where they'll pick somebody up on November 9th and like, hey, we're gonna non-tender you. It's almost like an agreement. You get a lot of times you get an agreement that they're going to sign a minor league deal. I wouldn't be shocked
Yeah.
to see Roddery Munoz sign a minor league deal. That's just, I don't think anybody's going to give him a big league deal. So this is a team that at least wants you for a little bit. And Carson Spires, who had Tommy John surgery and is going to be rehabbing. So those were the Reds' 3 non-tenders. None of
Is that
those were
surprising
real.
to you or
Mhm.
yeah.
No, I mean
Okay.
they like I honestly, it's like who is this guy? But with
I
Munoz,
wasn't
but
going to
yeah,
say
it's like
that.
I remember. So anyway, we will talk some more interesting names than Roddery Munoz after this message from our friends at MeUndies.
Kratz, we picked you to talk about MeUndies, not just because they're ridiculously comfortable, but also because they are very festive. When the holiday season hits, you go on the website and there are just so many more designs to check out. And they just scream Eric Kratz getting little matching sets with everybody that he knows.
You know what? They're called me undies, not you undies. So you go in and you say, this one's for me. This set is for me. This is what is good for me. Not you undies, me undies. A lot of different ones to choose from.
I'm so confused, but what I do know is that you can knock out all of your holiday gifting needs today with MeUndies, and to get the exclusive holiday deals up to 50% off, MeUndies.com/foul. Enter promo code FOUL. That's MeUndies.com/FOUL. Promo code is FOUL for up to 50% off. Matching holiday prints with your person? You can't beat that.
No, you can't beat the matching MeUndies that Danny Graves and I are going to get, and that will be
That's
our
right.
Christmas card. The Riverfront Territory Christmas card. It's going to be me and Danny and our matching MeUndies.
Not you undies, me undies. I love
Right.
it.
Us undies.
Us
Our
undies,
undies.
yeah.
So, well, Danny, like, actually, this is sorry, Danny. Like, when we were shooting, like we were texting back and forth about ideas for this week's shows, this was your idea, and it's actually a good one because like the main thing is last year you have a lot of guys who have track records, big leaguers, and like when you're non-tendered like this, a lot of times it's not saying, "Hey, we don't think you can play." It's us saying, "Hey, you have reached to part of your career where you're going to go into arbitration, and quite honestly, we know what arbitration's going to give you because it doesn't give you a pay cut.
Yeah.
So we're just going to say, hey, we're not going to send you to arbitration. We wouldn't pay even the low number. You're a free agent." A lot of times those guys will re-sign. We've seen it here a lot of times with where they are, the people that know them, and a lot of times they'll go elsewhere and find a fit. And it is kind of like the bargain basement of shopping, but you know, like that, you know, they might put a cheap TV on sale at Best Buy, and you got to run to get it. So you kind of started this, and who is your guy that you're like running to get?
So I'm running to see if Adolis Garcia is going to be that cheap TV at Best Buy that I can steal away.
You need to pay for it, Danny.
Yeah, I'm going to pay for it.
Oh, like a relative steal. Like you pay so little, it is a steal. Not like I just, hey, you know,
Yeah.
This is a issue we've had with Reds pitchers before.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not. I'm not gonna. I know I'm gonna have to pay. I know I'm gonna have to pay probably more than I expected. But he's out there, and it's a guy that has proven that he can hit the ball out of the ballpark, and that's it. This is what the Reds need. They need a power bat. And somebody in the outfield. And he did win a Gold Glove. I'm not saying he's going to be a Gold Glove winner again. He won a Gold Glove a few years ago. I know his numbers have been trending down as far as like OPS, and he didn't strike out as much last year as he has in the previous years, but his batting average OPS is down. But this is a guy that you put him in Great American Ballpark, a whole new setting. I mean, this guy might just rejuvenate his career. And Trent, we've seen this before. Some players that are on the downside get an opportunity somewhere else, and next thing you know, they're back to what they were before, even if it's just for a year. I'm not sure how much he's going to cost. Probably in the 12 to 15 million range. I'd imagine somewhere around there.
I think it's going to be less.
I think it might be better. About
8 to 10, maybe. I'm not sure, but because I think he would get I think he was scheduled to get about like what was it, 12 in ARB is what MLB trade rumors kind of guessed. But yeah, no, like it'll be interesting. He's a guy that like here's a question I have for you. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about like when you think of this offense as a whole and this team and their approach? And again, like I am not a like person who puts a lot on the hitting coaches. I feel like hitting coaches in this day and age are almost like assistants, like not bosses, right? And so they're players' assistants. They don't have they're still coaching staff, but you know, like and I also always go back to something I think I've mentioned this before, but Brooke Jacoby said when John Fay, the late great John Fay, asked him about like, well, you know, you have a guy like Votto and his approach. How do you teach that to other guys? And Brooke said, you don't teach approach, you draft it.
Wow.
And or acquire it. You know, it's like you can do as much, but like in the end, and this is something, speaking of other people, like I remember talking to Eric Davis. He was talking to somebody, I think it was Will Benson. And Eric Davis just said, be who you are. You know, you can't be something you're not. You can't be Adolis Garcia and then turn into, you know, Joey Votto. Or you can't be Vladimir Guerrero Sr. and turn into Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Other than a long process with, you know, a partner and raising them. But it's still not you. But yeah, so yes.
Yeah, the Joey Votto thing is brilliant. I love that quote from Brooke Jacoby. You're not going to try to teach somebody how to have the same approach and patience as Joey Votto, and
And you can
I mean,
stress to be like, hey, this is what he does good, but you're not going to turn somebody into that. Just as like you're not going to turn, well, this guy hits the ball, is bat to ball. Well, we want you to get more power. Be a power hitter. Like that doesn't work. You have to be who you are. That can evolve, but changing it abruptly or trying to change abruptly, I think is a fool's errand.
Yeah, it was, when Adam Dunn came to Cincinnati way back in early 2000s, people were complaining that he was not swinging at pitches. Like he was taking too many pitches and taking too many walks. And, he's either home run, strikeout, or walk. Well, isn't that what baseball loves these days? I mean, Adam Dunn was like,
he was the first, three true outcome guy.
Yeah. But, and he had a great eye at the plate, and he wasn't going to chase. I mean, he did strike out a lot, but he was very seldomly going out of the strike zone to chase pitches,
Well,
and he didn't mind taking a walk.
And that's kind of my worry with Adolis Garcia is
because he doesn't walk enough.
No, it's not the walking, it's the chasing.
Yeah.
35.7% chase percentage last year on pitches out of the zone. So 1 in 3 pitches out of the zone, he's swinging.
Yeah, but that also could be somebody in his ear telling him you need to be more aggressive and you need to, try to jump on somebody early in the count or whatever it is. Because when a hitter, even a pitcher for that matter, when a player is struggling, you have so many voices telling you this is how you got to get out of your slump and this is what you got to do. You got to be more aggressive. You got to be less aggressive. Next thing you know, you're turning into who you're not. Basically kind of what we just said starting this conversation. Adolis Garcia, if he could go back to just being the guy of seeing the ball, hit the ball hard somewhere, maybe it's simple as that instead of trying to change his approach at the plate.
And he still hit the ball hard last year. He had like it was pretty good. I looked at exit velocity and hard hit rate and all that, and they were all in like 80th percentile and better. So the question is just swinging and hitting. And I would love, like, it's a guy I've thought about for a little bit. I even thought, like, because you heard rumors at the trade deadline that the Rangers were looking at maybe moving him, and it made sense because he was a guy who could be non-tendered and wasn't performing. And I was like, oof, man, that's an interesting bounce back. I also like that he's a right-handed hitter, because it seems like they've got a lot of platoon guys. He's not a platoon guy.
Right.
Or at least he hasn't been. He might be now. We don't know. It could be one of those things, but I can't see him just hitting against lefties. But he's also a good base runner. He's not exactly fast, but he's a good base runner. That's where, like, he had a 2.7 B-WAR last year, and it was mostly defense and base running.
Yeah.
He did that with a 93 OPS plus, and so, like, 7% worse as a hitter than the average player, but still gave you nearly 3 wins because of his defense and his and his running ability. And maybe it's a guy that, like, okay, you have him here and he goes to left field. He can do that and DH some. But a guy who's a former Gold Glover who can play outfield, you have him out there with Noel V. Marte. And then you have him batting right-handed right behind Ellie De La Cruz. Even if he gets off to a slow start, people are still not wanting to test him because he has a resume.
Exactly. That's exactly it. I mean, you bring somebody proven. I know everybody in baseball saw what he did in that World Series when he was a couple years ago. You couldn't get the guy out. Every ball he hit was 1,000 miles per hour off the bat. It was ridiculous. So, and when you tell me the sale price at Best Buy, like, that's even better than what I imagined. So, like, and he'll be 33 when the season starts, which still is, I mean, you're not going to try to sign him to like a 5-year deal, right? You just want to see if let him.
Yeah.
A lot of times you see these guys maybe sign a 1-year deal, a 2-year deal with an opt out to see if they can get back on track. Let the Reds be that team to get him back on track.
It will be interesting, though, for me to see exactly how this market does and if guys are willing to sign 1-year deals or more likely to be aggressive for 2 years deals with an opt-out because of the CBA expiring after this season.
Right.
There are going to be a lot of guys who want the security of being on a roster, or at least on a team's radar, as opposed to just in the wild during that lockout time. Just because, we saw it in 2022, like the lockout ends and it's just like frenzy,
Yeah.
You just open the gates and everybody's running to claim their land, like the old land rush days,
Yeah.
And so I think that is part of why I think there's going to be some hesitancy in the free agent market, to me. And I could be wrong, but I think there might be some hesitancy from both sides. If you're a player, you're like, I don't know, I don't know what's coming up. I don't know that I want a 1-year deal. And maybe we're going to have like these new restrictions. And I don't think there's going to be a salary cap. I also don't think a salary cap is the answer. That's a different topic for a different day. But I think there are going to be people, both players and front offices, hedging their bets because you don't want to get caught. Like all of a sudden, we're playing under old rules and we're paying this guy way too much. So we shall see. But I think Adolis Garcia, and yeah, baseball, MLB Trade Rumors does a great job with their projections for arbitration, and they had them at 12-1. And so I was right on that. So, but
yeah, so
okay, here's my thing.
you can get it for cheaper. Okay.
I think there's going to be no shortage of teams, probably even including the Texas Rangers, offering Adolis Garcia a contract. What is your sales pitch if you are Nick Krall and Brad Matter?
You can play in a ballpark that you can hit 30 to 40 home runs. And you can hit behind Ellie De La Cruz, or we hit you in front of Ellie De La Cruz. Or you can have La Rosa's pizza every Friday night, whatever. Sorry, I love La Rosa's. I'm just saying.
They should sponsor us then. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I've been to Cuba. I don't know that it quite is. The Cubans are craving La Rosa's, but hey.
No.
You didn't before you were born in Vietnam. Hell, there you go.
There you go. But I think Ellie De La Cruz you use him as your sales pitch. I think any free agent that you go after, you can throw that in there. And then you can also say, well, guess who the manager is? Tito Francona, who every retired player would have loved to have played for Tito Francona when they were players. And now I'm sure that a lot of current players, they might not say it, would love to play for Tito Francona.
I think, we've seen some players say that. I'm trying to remember who I saw it the other day, but it was like, it was Justin Turner, right? Justin Turner said he always wanted to play for Terry Francona. And Justin Turner's a free agent. He's also 41, 42. But, I think what it does show is like not just necessarily him, but that type of player and those veterans who are like looking for fits and quality of life. A guy like Justin Turner, who's got, this contract is not going to change his retirement one bit. But so those guys there are looking at what's going to make me happy for a year. And your manager's pretty big pretty big part of that, right, Danny?
Yes, you. No offense to a lot of the other managers out there, but if I had an opportunity to play for Tito and I could only get a 1-year deal somewhere, I know this guy's going to back me. He's going to be right behind me and try to help me succeed every way possible.
All right, so I've got a guy that I think's interesting. I'm not sure I would go there, but what do you think about Christopher Morel, non-tendered by the Rays? I had actually forgotten that he went there at the trade deadline 2 years in 24. I just remember this guy, like every time he came to the plate at Great American, you were like, uh-oh, because the ball can jump off that bat.
Yeah. And he can play multiple positions.
He plays he played second base, shortstop, and third base with the Cubs. Those infield spots, including shortstop. And last year he only played outfield and DH. And you're talking a guy,
which affected his hitting, obviously.
It did. Well, I don't know. Like the thing is, it's weird. He's a free swinger with a good eye. He makes good decisions. It's just like in the zone, he does not hit the ball great. But when he does, he had 26 home runs in 23, 21 in 24. A guy that kind of plays all over the place. That's an interesting one for me. And again, all of these, every name we bring up, it's going to be like, well, it depends on what it costs. And we know that and maybe should do it. Who's another guy you kind of thought about?
Well, I saw that you highlighted Joey Lucchesi.
Yeah.
Left-handed reliever. I didn't even cross my mind until you put that on there. And I'm looking up stuff on this guy. I don't understand why he wasn't tendered. He wasn't supposed to make a ton of money. Like a couple
million. $2 million. Yeah, was the projection. And these projections are usually pretty good. Because they're based on all these other ones. And so it surprised me too, because here's a guy, and maybe it is that transition from starter to reliever, but it seemed like he did a pretty good job. He was durable last year. Once, he went over the Giants, they used him again and again and again. He was their lefty. This team needs a lefty. There's a lot for me there. That was the guy that jumped out at me.
Yes. And looking up what he did against lefties, he gave up 1 home run against a left-handed batter all year last year in 83 plate appearances. I mean, that's pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah.
And it's not, there's not just a lefty specialist anymore, because obviously you got to throw to at least 3 batters, but still he's going to come in to face more lefties than righties. That's what you would use him for. And to keep the ball in the ballpark,
right,
I'll take it.
When you were playing back in the old days, when you guys would leave your gloves behind your position and the other guy would pick it up.
Right.
So it's the guy, younger than you, or older than you.
Happy
sorry.
Birthday, by the way.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. There you would use those left-handed guys and they would literally be used for 1 batter. Now when you're using them, you're going to use them for at least 3, but you're really using them for 1 batter. You're saying, hey, this lefty, he's not going to beat me. Those other guys, maybe they'll beat me against this guy, but I can't afford to pitch to the lefty.
Exactly. And you need that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he can still get right-handed hitters out. And you look at his splits from last year, righties hit 250 off of him, OPS 765, but you're not having him in there to mainly pitch to righty.
Right. You have to be able to, basically what that says is he can get him out and but not as great.
Though. Yeah.
And that's probably exactly why he wasn't there. But he is a former starter, and so it's not foreign to him. Right. I think there was probably some adjustment to. I don't know. You'd probably be better like this. Is there an adjustment to how you face guys from the bullpen versus starting, and use your stuff and almost have to figure out a little differently?
Well, I think as a reliever, you come in and you're only going to face this guy once that particular day, unless you're in there for mop up and you throw multiple innings, but that's not what Lucchesi would do. So you go in and that you can try to get nasty with every single pitch. You don't have to pitch around. You don't have to try to get them to chase. You can go right after them and be aggressive. And if you look at his strikeouts to innings last year, as a reliever. So he had 31 strikeouts in 38 and a third innings. Well, 2 years ago, he had 9 starts, 32 strikeouts, and 46 and 2/3 innings. So a lot less per inning as a starter. So I guess what I'm saying is you can get nasty as a reliever. There's only certain times of the game, I think, as a starter where you have that ability to, I need to get nasty now, like runner on third, less than 2 outs, or, trying to shut down a big inning. Reliever, it's like, I know I'm in here for these 3 batters or these 4 batters. Here's my stuff.
Right. And you're coming in a lot of those times where like, that's all you're doing is your fire extinguisher. And so it's like, nope, not going to mess around. I don't like, because that's right. Like, I think about like, I was telling somebody this yesterday, like how veteran pitchers, when they are rehabbing, they never want to go to the lowest leagues. Cause I just remember Aaron Harang one day being like,
dangerous.
Well, no, his thing was like, those idiots didn't know I was setting them up. They were just teeing off.
Yeah.
He was like, I was trying to set them up, but they don't know they were being set up because they don't know where and how to set up.
Right.
And so it's like, it's so unpredictable. And it's just funny for me to think that like you can be a big league pitcher, all-star, I think, Harang got Cy Young votes. He was a great pitcher. Like you can be like that. And it's much easier to pitch against big leaguers than it is single A guys. And I guess it's just because you know what to expect.
Yes, because spring training back in the day when we used to leave the gloves on the field for the other guys when they come out. So there's opportunities to go pitch in B games, on the backfields because there just wasn't enough innings to throw in the spring training game. I would, as much as I could, avoid the B games on the backfields because of that. Like there was no, you didn't really get much out of it except a pitch count, because the best thing that could come out of that is that you didn't get hurt. Your feelings are going to get hurt because they're going to crush you because they swing at everything. They see a big leaguer coming down. They're like, I'm going to go up there and swing at a first pitch close, and I'm not going to let him try to strike me out. So
because you're expected to strike out.
Yes.
Like I remember a couple years ago, it was Mark Colesbury, former Reds catcher, when he was in the minor league camp. It was one of his. He had been in camps before, but it was since they see a lot of those B games are against the Guardians. He hit a home run off Shane Bieber, and it was like everybody was talking about it.
Word gets out. Yeah.
Oh yeah. B games are fun though. Like I kind of like it just because, like I watched Joey Votto one year, and like it's different for hitters. Yeah. Well, pitchers you can stop at any time. Like Danny Graves goes out, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna throw this." You could even be like, "Oh, that guy hit a home run. This guy hit a triple. They're swinging at nothing. I got my 15 pitches in. Skip, we're done." And you roll the inning. Whereas like Joey Votto could go and he would like fly out and could be like, "Nope, I'm staying in. I'm gonna hit again." Like you can do those things, and like so you can get like 10.
Didn't he get like 8 at bats one?
Easy. Games? Like, and it was a game that I saw against the Guardians, and I actually wrote way too much about it, where he hit a pop up to the infield in a B game, and this is Joey Votto in a nutshell. That's why I wrote about it, because I was just back there. He had a pop up in the B game, and he was just busting ass, and it was to the third baseman in fair territory, and the third baseman lost it in the sun, and it dropped, and he got a double because he was busting his ass. But can you imagine being B guy, like AAA guy? You're watching any big leaguer, yet future Hall of Famer.
Yep.
And when you see that, like that's why I wrote about it, and probably wrote too much, but.
No, that's a teaching moment. Of course, man, you can't write too much on something like that because there's so many kids down there, even older players that need to see that.
I've got editors who might disagree with you, but I did talk to, I think like 32 people for that story basically anybody who was on the field. And I, of course, didn't use it all.
Right.
But I was looking for it and, and wanting to track down everybody. So.
Yeah, of course, I'm not an editor and I never will be. But that's intriguing because of the situation. It's Joey Votto running hard on a pop-up on the infield in a B game. You're not going to see that very often. And these 18, 19, and 20-year-olds that are playing in these games need to see that often.
All right.
Yeah. So
let's go to, how about this name for you?
Yeah.
Alek Manoah.
I like this kid.
Okay. I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
And maybe you'll know this because you looked at my notes, but I still didn't remember. So I had to go back, look it up. Which team non-tendered Alek Manoah?
So I didn't know it until I saw it in your notes. I would have said the Blue Jays, but I would have
said the same thing, but
yeah,
it was the Braves. And I didn't, I had even forgot that from the time I typed it to now.
Yeah. Did he even play in any minor league games with them?
He did, and I know he was with them last year, and he pitched in the minors, and it was not what we in the business call good. But so I gotta, but
play with Toronto, he was decent. But before he went, I looked up his numbers in Buffalo last year. I think he had 7 starts. His ERA was a sub-3.
I think it's like a guy like that. It's, if he's pitching 91, well, he was never a fireballer. It was 94, which, I mean, again, in today's game, that's nothing. And I just kind of like the thought that I bet he's going to get, I think, a minor league contract somewhere. And for him, it's going to be the best spot. And that's probably not Cincinnati with a lot of what they have. Although you can say I have Derek Johnson.
Yes.
And that's huge.
But you know what else is huge? And I don't know if he would consider this, but I think maybe he should at this time to try to get back to the big leagues. Go to the bullpen. He has the perfect mentality to pitch in the bullpen. You see the excitement, the fiery attitude that he has when he's pitching well. He needs that in the bullpen. Go out there for an inning or 2 at a time until maybe he starts getting comfortable and gets his stuff back. Then maybe become a starter again. But I think this guy would flourish as a late inning reliever. Not saying a closer. I'm saying, big situations late in the game where you need somebody to come out there that has no fear. And this dude has no fear pitching. Yep.
All right. We're going to finish this up, and I'm going to give you 3 names, three outfielders, and any of these tickle your fancy. Michael Toglia, who's first baseman outfielder, was the Rockies opening day first baseman last year. Mike Tauchman and JJ Bleday. Any of those do anything for you?
Do anything?
Oh, you just kind of froze up. Sorry.
That would tickle my fancy. 36 years old. Oh, Tauchman, he's intriguing, but he's 36 years old. Like how much, but he could be cheap because of that. But I don't really think the other 2 guys are trending in the right direction.
But those other 2 guys are much younger. Toglia is a switch hitter. 2 years ago, and what was it, 24, he hit 25 homers. 17 of those were on the road.
I did see that.
And he was a better, he's a switch hitter. He's been pretty even as OPS pluses, home road splits, and from each side. So I think that's kind of interesting just because it maybe is a bad year. Maybe it's a bad spot, just as Great American isn't great for every power hitter, Coors is different. And because there's the difference in Coors for me is not the home runs, but everything else. Like, that's why I was always huge. I was like, Billy Hamilton in his prime should have been a Rocky.
He would have had
he
like
was
30
built
triples
for
a
it.
year.
Right, because like he was playing in the worst possible ballpark because, Great American gives you home runs, but it takes everything else away.
Yeah.
Because it is that outfield's small. I mean, the outfield is so small that we've seen Jesse Winker in center field. I like Jesse. Defense was not his calling card. We saw Shin-Soo Choo in center field in his 30s because it was Great American Ballpark and you could do that. So,
Right.
like, again, it's all comes down to that's what I just find intriguing because it is a switch hitter. He can, you worry about that. The defense, like maybe he's just a left fielder, but you have just as a right-handed hitter, or as a switch hitter, I just like that versatility. Blade and Taglia were both first-round picks in 2019. Bigger prospects. Blade was number 4 overall pick.
Yeah.
Plays all 3 outfield spots, but he's left-handed, and right now, like, Jake Fraley's available, but like that's the same thing. They have Will Benson, who is probably a platoon guy, and most of your platoon guys in the outfield are looking a little left-handed. So
Yeah. You're right. A switch hitting outfielder that can play first base, can DH too, and has some pop. I mean, it's not a bad idea either. I'm sure he's not going to be very expensive at Best Buy.
Yeah. But like Morel is still interesting to me just because right-handed, serious pop, and the defensive flexibility.
Yes. I like him more than any of those 3. I know he wasn't a choice with those 3, but yeah, I would take him.
Well, all right. Well, we got longer than they wanted us to yet again, because that's what Danny and I do. But we will be back again. We have another one this week before the holiday. I think we are going to talk closers. And so our guest is going to be Reds all-time saves leader, Danny Graves. Will inform me and my co-host just what it takes to be a closer, because Danny, is closing different than any other pitching in any other inning? Or do we have to stay tuned for your detailed answer?
Yeah.
Tune into the next one, because this is a long discussion, and it's a discussion I'm fascinated by, honestly.
Yeah, and I think they're telling us we've gone too long, so I have to wait till next episode.
All right. Well, with that, I guess I try to follow instructions.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what you can do for us for our holidays? You can rate and review us wherever you listen to your podcasts, or here on YouTube, or, well, I guess YouTube's commenting. You really subscribe in YouTube, and then go to Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and, share it with your buddies, your friends who just want to look at Danny. You can do it with the sound off. Maybe I should do a single camera, or it's just Danny and not me. That might be better. I'll also do maybe a feed where you don't hear me talk. Also very, very highly encouraged. So, but review, say nice things. I had therapy today, and, we're sensitive today. Give us 5 stars. If you're not going to give us 5 stars and say nice things, well, I don't want to cry again. So, that's just one little plea. It's my birthday.
Yes. Just be kind. Just be kind.
Yeah. Riverfront Territory is part of the Foul Territory Network, and check out any of our other shows, because we got great shows on this network, and you can find a whole lot of interesting talk, and maybe some of these same guys, and get a better idea. So until next time, I am C. Trent Rosecrans, and he is 2-time All-Star, Danny Graves.